Hi there, learners, and welcome to Module 2.3 of our Term 3 modules, actually. And this is focused on the online lifestyle. So you'll find a number of different things actually coming through here. So let's dive in. We're going to be chatting a bit about internet access, digital communications, online services, and it seems like it's just about 5-6 items. Watch how deep we go into this. Okay. So the first thing we're talking about is internet access. You having access to the internet at home. Now, think about your own. What sort of internet access do you have? Do you have an ADSL line? Do you have a fiber line? Do you have fixed internet? Do you have wireless? What do you have? So let's look at a few options here. The first thing we talk about is fixed internet access. And here we're talking about connections that include options such as ADSL and fiber. That means there's a physical line. Okay, that line is fixed in place. I'm sure many of you would have seen them digging up the roads all around various cities in the country. That's where they were laying the fiber cables. So those cables are fixed in place. This is why we talk about fixed internet access. From the point of it being, let's say, outside your home or down the street or so on, at the local exchange box on the corner, there's a line that will then run to your place when you want to, get your internet, and that's how you then tap into that line via whichever ISP. Now, there are some limitations, lack of portability, which means I can't just pick up the line and walk away with it. Some of them can be expensive, and then you also need to be in a coverage area. Now, this is important because where I'm staying, there is no ADSL or fiber coverage. It's like only wireless connectivity, which has its own advantages and disadvantages. So these are things one just needs to know. Then we have two abbreviations that go with that. The FTTH, which is fiber to the home, or FTTB, fiber to the business. So just know what those stand for. Then we have mobile internet access, when you don't want to be limited by the cables. Now, again, this has its own pros and cons. So we look at things like Wi-Fi, and we look at our hotspots. So let's jump into this. Now, please remember that Wi-Fi uses radio waves to send data. Guys, this is a typical theory question. This is something that comes up in the multiple choice section as well. So take note of that. It uses radio waves to send data, and it allows devices to connect to the internet via a router or communicate with one another wirelessly. All right? So this is how it's communicating using radio waves. Right, now when we deal with hotspots, this is a place where a Wi-Fi network can or has been created. Now we know we can do mobile hotspots with our phones. We know when we go into certain shops or restaurants, they have their own hotspot. It's an area in which devices can connect. Usually it's limited to that space, and usually it is limited in terms of how much data you can actually use. So that's nice, but yeah. I don't know how many of you actually make full use of that. Or maybe you shouldn't. I don't know. Right. So we have then WiMAX. Worldwide interoperability for microwave access. You'll probably never be asked that. But anyway, just know WiMAX is just an upgrade on Wi-Fi. It's more secure. It's got a much wider range, broadband access, and it is viable where fiber is not yet available. There is also 3G and 4G. So where I am on my little small holding, I've only got 3G and 4G, and it's only with MTN. So that means that there's a little bit of a problem for me when it comes to setting up internet access, because what I had to do was actually, first of all, find an ISP that has MTN in it and has coverage to my area. Then I needed to find out if I can get hold of a router that can actually take a SIM card from MTN to be able to go in there. And that's how I get access to the internet. So yeah, bit of a schlep, but those are the ways in which we can communicate and get, access to our downloads and streaming and all this type of thing. Right. Now, they mention here that 5G operates on different radio frequencies to 4G. It can connect, here's the key, more devices to the internet per antenna and at faster data speeds with less delay. That is the advantage of 5G over 4G. This means that you can watch a video almost immediately without having to experience any buffering time. Oh, we don't like that buffer. No mother buffers here. Nothing at all. All right. So it is limited, however, in that devices must have line of sight to the antenna, and the signals are affected by the weather. I don't know if you've ever picked that up. Weather's bad, suddenly your signal starts to fluctuate a little bit. So here's a comparison, and they use the scenario of how long to download a 2-hour film. If you are on 3G, and this is from 2001, it'll probably take you like 26 hours. You got to do it a day in advance. 4G, you're looking at 6 minutes. Now look at the jump. And then with 5G, hours, minutes, seconds, 3.6 seconds, done. Okay, so this is just to show you the difference in these generations of internet access. And you can see again, going up here to the top, more devices per antenna, faster data speeds, less delay. So each one is better than the one before. Right. We also have satellite internet. A lot of people connect via satellite. And I'm going to show you a few examples. Well, one major example. Now, satellite internet can provide internet connections in rural areas because, like I said, I'm limited to MTN in my area. Like that's all. There's no ADSL, there's no fiber, nothing there. What about those out in the rural areas? Far up into the mountains. How do they connect? Do you think there's cables there? No. So the user, in order to connect via satellite, will need a dish antenna. So they're going to need a satellite dish. And they will then have to connect to an internet service provider via that. So you can see the dish then connects to the satellite, that specialized satellite, and it will then connect to the ISP. And obviously you'll have some sort of a subscription plan going with that. Now, what's the benefit of doing this? Well, the satellite speeds are quite high, but they can suffer delay and signal loss due to bad weather. And that bad weather can be on your side, or it can be on the other side of the world, wherever the ISP is. Anything that sort of gets in the way of that can cause a problem. A typical example of satellite internet, and we all know this one, is Starlink. So Starlink by old Elon Musk, there's your satellite, and the idea with this is you can take it anywhere you want to, whether you are on a boat, whether you are on a houseboat, whether you are out in the country. You take this out, you set it up, and it will automatically calibrate itself to where the satellite is, and within a few minutes give you internet access. I think of somewhere between about 100 megabits per second to 200 megabits per second, but then you're the only one on that particular connection. So, yeah, very, very nice. Okay. Then we move on to browsers and email clients on mobile devices. Now, we know what our emails can do. We know what we use email for. But with our emails, there can be certain restrictions in the way we format messages. And these emails can be pushed from one account to a particular device. So they can be set to check for emails at intervals. This is why when you have your phone's data on, you'll see as you receive emails, those emails will actually come through. So that is just part of what the app does. It's pushed from the account where the ISP is. Let's say it's with Starlink. It gets pushed from there to your device. Right. And then when we talk about, obviously, our browsers as well on mobile devices, sometimes the graphics are not the same as when you have it open on a laptop or a desktop. And some of the pages that depend on pop-up windows may not work correctly. So that's just the difference between doing it on your phone versus doing it on the laptop or desktop PC. Right, then we move into digital communications. Now, here's something I don't need to talk about at all. Am I correct? Yes. Social networking sites. I think you know too much about that. But let's just look at the advantages and disadvantages. And please, this is a proven fact that In CAT, with our advantages and disadvantages, you need not know more than 2 of them. I've shown this in practical papers, theory papers that we've had over the years. So do something with that. Okay. Right. So our advantages: easy and cost-effective way to communicate. Yes, sometimes we communicate too much. We can send and receive messages, or it allows people to interact and form communities, and you're not bound by geographical or cultural differences. Brilliant tool for marketing, and this is why you see so many ads on social networks. All right. Some disadvantages are risks of identity theft. Well, when you post in everything, you're giving your information away. But anyway, false information on profiles. Oh, yes. We're going catfishing. Right. People can often create a fake perfect life online. Listen, most of what is there is fake, man. It's just about views. Okay. So be genuine. Be genuine. If you're going to be on there, be genuine. Loss in productivity. There are people, particularly adults as well, who spend a lot of time online. And it's not just loss of productivity, in the workplace. It can be loss of productivity at home. You think you have a list of things you want to do at home, and then you spend the next 2 hours scrolling through a particular platform. No, right? These are some disadvantages. Quantity versus quality. The social media platforms give us tons of quantity. How much quality do you actually get from it? Okay, I'm not saying there's not, but just bear that in mind. And the reason you get certain ads is because these sites analyze your posts. This is why we talk about the algorithm, which checks out exactly what you are doing and then feeds you with info based on what you've swiped past or what you've spent a few seconds looking at. Now, when it comes to these social networking sites, there are some best practices. You want to protect your privacy by checking the settings. You want to restrict access to info on your profile. Only give out the information you are forced to. Don't just befriend or have anyone follow you or follow anyone. Please pick and choose, right? Don't post damaging, insulting, or provocative content. Restrict the... Here we go. Side note. How much time do you spend on social media per day? Just do a quick experiment. Think to yourself. Just understand that in a 24-hour period, which is all you have in one day, how many hours per day are you spending on social media? And that's all of the platforms. And just understand that once you've wasted that time, you cannot get it back. Okay, right, moving on. VoIP, voice over internet protocol. This is a technology that allows telephone calls to be made over LANs, WANs, and the internet. It means our voice, video can move over the internet that is there. For example, WhatsApp, FaceTime, Skype, all of these things, right? These are examples of VoIP. Now, there are advantages. You can imagine cheaper than normal phone calls. The software is generally free. It allows one to transfer files, and you can even make video conference calls. But just bear in mind, the quality may be poor because it's going to depend on your internet connection, and you can use a lot of data as well. Now, you'll notice we talk about advantages, disadvantages, and then best practices. In other words, what's the best way to make full use of a technology like this? Only use the video when necessary. I've had meetings on WhatsApp without turning on the video. You don't have to see everyone if it's not necessary. Pay attention to your contacts' status, right? If they're saying they're busy, then don't disturb them. I mean, yeah, it's like when you approach a closed door. What do? You knock before entering, okay? Just say. Use a decent headset and microphone to increase the quality. Now, you don't have to go and buy the most expensive kit out there, but yeah, people, you don't want to end up sounding like this. No, you don't want to be sounding like that, like one of these airline pilots. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are cruising over altitude of 40,000 feet. No, that's not how you want to sound. And I've heard some of this because I hear my sons play, and some of the mics are just bad. But anyway, we work with what we have. Then you want to check local time zones before calling someone in another country. Just common decency. Check the time. I know some people don't worry about it, but some do. So just bear that in mind. And some more pros and cons. You can have a look through that, but again, you don't have to know more than 2. This is just to give you some more info on VoIP as well. Then an important one is video conferencing. So this is now inside of VoIP. We're talking about video conferencing. Here we're dealing with an application that allows 2 or more people to hold online conferences at different places. Look at this point. We use a computer network to transmit audio and video. Now we're making it more complicated than it needs to be, but let's use WhatsApp call, right? I can have a video conference call. How can I do that? 2 people, whether it's in a group, whether I'm calling someone and adding somebody else, I'm using a computer network. Now remember, your internet is a global network to transmit audio and video, as if people were all in the same room. Okay, so that is important. Here we have an example of a video conference where some people are physically there, others are not physically there, they are joining in online. But here you can see it connects 2 or more people in real time in separate locations, visually for the purpose of communication. Right? Now, please just bear in mind that the quality of the images and sound largely depends on the quality of the connection between the 2 locations. Guys, you've seen this. When they invite someone as a guest on a show and they are joining in from somewhere else and they've got bad internet or just a bad camera, and sure, it just doesn't look good. So, yeah, it depends on that. That is a typical theory question. Typical theory question. What impacts the quality of the image? Or the image that is displaying is not good. What could be impacting that? Any of those sort of questions. Here we have a microphone. We've got a webcam as well. This is your Blue Yeti. Beautiful microphones. Some of them connect via USB, others XLRs, with a little interface. But however you do it, you just need to know that to join a video conference, you need your video camera or webcam or whatever you're using. Some people use their phones. You need a microphone and you need a screen, and hopefully you've got a set of headphones or speakers, because otherwise you're not going to be able to hear anyone. Okay, so these are the essential elements with software. Remember now, the software is what? A program. What is that program doing? Let's take WhatsApp. WhatsApp is the software. What is that software doing? The software is allowing you to communicate. Now, I have a microphone that can work in the software, a screen that can show me what's happening, speakers that can connect via that. And most importantly, probably, is I need a high-speed internet connection. Why? So that everything can run smoothly. The data, in terms of audio and video, can move across the internet quite quickly so that I get a smoother, more crisp image coming through. Again, advantages, disadvantages, you can go through this. You can see we've already been touching on this and chatting about this. And some of the best practices, please, this is extremely important, because this I've seen come up as scenario questions already. We're talking about working in a well-lit location, making sure you know what's on your camera. You want to protect your privacy. You don't want to be like some of these people that have weird things happening in the background. And test the sound and video before making the call. You know that's the worst, is when they connect with someone, the person says, hello. And like, dip, dip, dip. Hello, can you hear me? Can you see me? No, don't do that. Test it before you get into these things. Right, so let's talk about blogs now. We know that our blog is basically our online diary. It's made up of content which is mainly communicated in written form on websites, like an online diary. These days we have vlogs, okay, where we do it in terms of video now, right? Also content mainly communicated through video and sound. And YouTube is a common source of these vlogs. So you'll need to know the difference between a blog and a vlog. Some good practice indicators here is just be interesting. Like if you want people to follow your blog or your vlog, you need to be interesting. You need to watch certain trends. Look, sometimes you don't want to be part of these things, but there are certain trends you jump onto for the purpose of having, more viewers come your way. You can collaborate with other vloggers. You can practice talking to a camera. Get some interesting transitions. Create appealing introductions and endings. And then with this, we also have podcasts. Okay? So what is a podcast? Well, a podcast is an audio file that can be downloaded from the internet from any device. Podcasts can be single audio or available in a series. Okay? And there are many disadvantages and advantages to running podcasts. And again, you can go through this at your own pace. So if we have advantages and disadvantages, what else do we have? Best practices or good practice. You want to look at the format of your podcast, like how long must it be? You want to look at the content. You want to look at developing quality production. Podcasts are a huge thing at the moment, and the biggest out there is actually the upgrade, which is now vodcast, which still does whatever the podcast does, but now we're adding video to it. So a vodcast is a step beyond podcast in that they include video and not just sound. Okay, so I think you've seen this is the way folks are going, and then what they'll do is they'll create an audio version of this and throw it maybe through to Spotify or whatever it is to give you that version as well. Okay, then we have chat rooms and applications that do that. These are online environments that allow people to meet and chat with each other with common interests in real time. So WhatsApp, Messenger, DMs, right, Twitter. Oh, I don't like those things. But anyway, your social network sites are used for the traditional functions of chat rooms. So just know what a chat room is. They give us a few advantages. It means that you can chat with more than one person at a time if you have like a little group. It's opportunity to interact with people globally, especially when people DM you, oh, hi. Or they just start with, hi, how are you? And they're like from some foreign country. Yeah, this is what they do. Okay. So disadvantages, like I just said, there's no way to make sure the people are what they claim to be. And users can sometimes spend more time in chat rooms than they do in the real world. This unfortunately can create opportunities for cyberbullying and identity theft. So please just watch yourselves. So don't give out any personal information. Does it seem like it's familiar? Don't arrange to meet anyone unless you know who the person is. Please people, be careful. Don't bully or get involved in any flame wars. Just hold yourselves back. Sometimes no answer is the best answer. Right, then we have RSS feeds. This is a fairly long module, so please bear with me. This is a technology that provides users with updated content, such as new blog entries and headlines from many different sites. So it brings all of those things together in one place. You can subscribe to various websites and content, and you get only what you are wanting. So it avoids spam. But you are going to be subscribing to many different RSS feeds, and this can cause a bit of info overload. And sometimes the graphics and photos are not included. So again, you just need to know what the RSS feed is and an advantage and disadvantage of that as well. Now, when we start transferring large files over the internet, we use the file transfer protocol because this is used for fast, easy transfer of files between remote computers that have an internet connection. We know Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, right? They've largely taken over this function, but they still work on the same principle. So, with Google Drive, if you have it at your school or your place of work and you save files there, you can access those files anywhere as long as you have an internet connection, log in, and you can get those files as well. And then one that's very popular is the downloading versus streaming. So please just understand the difference, right? When I'm downloading, this is when I'm taking a file, whether it be video, music, like we used to download back in the day, or some other type of data, and you copying it from a device or the internet to your computer. So I'm taking a file that's located online and I'm downloading a copy, or I'm basically making a copy of that file and bringing it onto my computer. Now, when I do that, I can use it whenever I want to offline, right, without connecting to the internet. On the other hand, streaming happens when your device receives data constantly. So streaming services like YouTube, Netflix, Netflix and Showmax, I need to be connected to the internet to actually watch those videos. Now, with these platforms, you can download episodes and series as well so that you can watch it offline. So yeah, even in that, they allow you to do that. But just know the difference between the two. Then there's something called a VPN, or a virtual private network. Now, for some of you who want to access websites and streaming websites in different time zones, sometimes you end up using a VPN. And this connects remote users to a private internal network using the internet. An example would be if a learner connected to the school LAN from their home to use the school's printer. The data is sent in a virtual tunnel, is highly encrypted, and it is secure. So that's one of the advantages of using a virtual private network, is that you can enforce that security and make sure that things are safe. Now, the device that is connected to the VPN then becomes invisible to the rest of the internet. So sometimes you'll find on your PC when you have a VPN running, it can actually cause a bit of a conflict with whatever else you are wanting to do on the internet. Because the VPN replaces the device's IP address with the IP address of the device providing the VPN. Now remember the IP address, this is your unique address on a network or on the internet. Okay, this device could be in another country. So just know what the VPN is. And then the age-old one is the intranet, not the internet, the intranet. So what is the intranet? Here we go. It is an internal website. So that means within an organization. So it's a website-like environment inside an organization to help employees. That's the purpose. It's not available to members of the public. It's not for that purpose. But when you look at how you interact with it, it's a web-like environment. So people will open their browser. They'll be able to go to the site of the particular company. They'll be able to open it, go into different links, but it's restricted to only the employees of that particular company. All right. Then we have a term that's come up, and this is why I've included this as well, the Internet of Things. Please, you must know this term. It refers to the interconnection via the internet of computing devices embedded in everyday objects, enabling them to send and receive data. So the Internet of Things uses this word thing as a generic term to describe the connected items, because a thing can be anything that can do what? It's got to do three things: collect info and send it to another device, receive info and act on it. Both collect and receive info. And we see a lot of this when it comes to smart homes, right? This is something that has started to come up and show itself in papers as well. Remember that when we talk about the smart home, this means that devices are controlled remotely using a computing device, provided that these devices are connected to the internet. So it means that I can switch off lights via my phone, but I'm connecting to all of these via the Wi-Fi within my house. So I can check the cameras, I can adjust the temperature of the aircon, I can switch on the TV, I can do all these different things. Know this definition, please. Remember, in a smart home, it includes features like lights that are turned off automatically when the person goes to sleep, doors open automatically when guests arrive, police are called if an intruder is detected, the garage door can be opened and closed automatically, and even the temperature of the house can be kept at comfortable levels. We've seen this with Alexa. Yes, Alexa, play this music for me, or switch this on, or switch that off. It's all part of this. A connected home, but what's the backbone? In other words, what is this all working through? The internet. Do you see why having a reliable, solid, stable, fast internet connection is important? because then I can add all these bits and pieces to it. Like where I'm staying, I mean, I'm in a Wendy house and I've got internet and I've got Wi-Fi cameras all around the place. So I can sit here at work and I can go onto my phone and I can go and see exactly what's happening around the property because my internet connection here connects to the home's internet connection, and then I can check out the cameras or what's on the cameras. So very nice. Then we have some online services. Most of you will be familiar with this. We have things like internet banking. Now, I know most of you are familiar with internet banking. We can use it to view account balances, pay bills, transfer money, ordering credit cards. Don't do too much of that. Please, buying prepaid data and airtime. Do you know what airtime is? When last have you bought airtime, or is it just data? Look, most of what we do is data these days. So again, advantages and disadvantages. It's convenient. The transactions are fast. It is safe. And yeah, because we don't want to be carrying large amounts of cash around. I mean, it's just dangerous these days. Then we can also do shopping online. I don't just want to use Takealot anymore. We've got Takealot, we've got Kalula that was there. We've now got Amazon that's jumped into the equation as well. And we're going to see what that does to old Takealot. I mean, Takealot's my friend. Like, I love Takealot, but I've experimented with Temu. Also lovely. I've had no issues with it. Your experience might be different. And now I want to jump into Amazon as well and see how that works and how long everything takes there. But with online shopping, we know in order to do that, we have to register, get a username and a password. We browse the goods, add it to our virtual shopping cart. Is that a real shopping cart? No, it's shopping cart located on that particular app. That's why it's virtual. I then go to a virtual checkout counter. I check the costs, make some changes if I need to. I can then pay via credit card. There's that credit card thing again, or EFT, or whichever other means they accept. And I can also make reservations and pay for movies, car hire, airline tickets, all these different things. And again, folks, there are a number of advantages and disadvantages to this. Obviously, it's convenient. We can compare prices. There are a lot of online sales, so you tend to get things a lot cheaper. But yes, there are a number of advantages. There are also some disadvantages because if you take Temu, for example, I think we've seen a number of these videos going around of people, what they ordered on Temu and then what they actually got. Now, fortunately, I haven't had that experience yet. But I think I saw one with an air fryer. Wow, it was bad. It was bad. Then, speaking of Temu, there are delivery costs and import taxes. So what I've seen with Temu, for example, I ordered, I think, goods to the value of about 350, 360 Rand. And the minute it came into the country, there was an import tax of about 85 Rand or so. So these are things you need to bear in mind when you are ordering online as well. And then we want to touch on protecting yourself online because that is very important. You want to protect yourself from cyberbullying and cyber stalking. So here we just need to know what it is. Cyberbullying is the spreading of rumors, gossip, and the general bullying of another person using digital communication methods. That could be WhatsApp, the internet, a post that you're doing against another person. Where cyber stalking is carried out by an individual who's obsessed with someone. Look, man, please, just like I keep saying in these videos, just don't do it. Just don't do it. If the person said no, walk away. Just back off, okay? Just please leave them alone. Now they are using digital technologies to track the victim's activities. And then what do? You show them where you are. You check in, you tag, you give your location. Is it difficult to track you down? No, it's not. Okay? Yeah, anyway. Then we have malware and security software. So remember, malware is any software written with negative intentions. And this can range from destructive viruses to software that is more annoying, like our adware. Now, this can be detected in one of two ways: by leaving a trace, like a virus definition or signature, and through suspicious actions, like unknown software trying to make changes to your settings. So this is how it can be detected. And again, what is detecting it? Your antivirus or anti-spyware software. Please, that depends. The effectiveness of this depends on you updating this. right? Making sure it is up to date, making sure you are actually using it as it should be. We also have firewall software. Now, what does firewall software do? It controls which programs can access the internet. And Windows provides, although it's not that great, it provides a basic firewall facility as well. All right. Then safe e-commerce. What is e-commerce? E-commerce is when we are buying and selling on the internet. So how do we stay safe? With internet banking, banks protect their clients by having an access code and have everyone having their own password or PIN. On-screen keyboards eliminate the dangers of keyloggers. SMS notifications of online transactions. Sometimes they want you to do two-factor authentication or giving you a password per session. They might give you a warning or safety tips on the website as well. Please don't use public computers for banking because other people are using that. And if you don't log out or you don't erase that stuff, somebody else can see what you've done. You want to follow good password practices, not the same password for all your accounts, please. Okay. Don't give out your personal details. I mean, if you're giving out your PIN, you're looking for trouble. Okay. And trouble will find you. It doesn't take much for trouble to find you. System software. It must be updated. In other words, your operating system, you have to update these things, right? You don't leave your computer unattended if you are busy in certain sites. Protect yourself against phishing. Take note of the security warnings. All of these things, folks. These are just a whole list of items to go through. Again, you don't have to know them all, but just have a good idea of how to stay safe. And then lastly, workplace and employment practice. We talk about office automation. This is the centralizing and automating of all tasks in the office. For example, the mobile office. This is where we have a laptop, smartphone, tablet, and internet access, and that equals our mobile office. It means we can do the same tasks wherever we are. The virtual office is where you have a set of services you rent to reduce expenses. Okay? Then we have outsourcing, where the company is not limited to a local pool of workers. They can employ workers from anywhere in the world. If you look at the fact that you can teach English online. I mean, I'm in South Africa. I can be teaching English in Taiwan. They are outsourcing. They are outsourcing to get me there. Right. Folks, this is everything you need to know from Module 2.3, the online lifestyle.